Hey everyone, this is Matt Wakeling and you are listening to the Guitar Speak podcast. This is the show I produce in Sydney, Australia, and I speak to leading guitarists and guitar figures from all around the world. Thank you so much for tuning in from wherever you are. Hope you're doing well, hope you're safe and well in these times. Now today I'm speaking to Australian multi-instrumentalist Rose Turtle Ertler. Rose is a really remarkable and unique person, and it was so great to have her on the show. She's a multi-instrumentalist, and her latest project, Mapatazi, is an all-women guitar and bass ensemble with over 20 musicians. Now, the music created in this ensemble is amazing. There's some very guitar vocabulary-centric kind of stuff going on, but with that many guitars as well, there's lots of opportunity for just big washes of ambience and some almost orchestral moments in the music. It's really super cool, and it was great to talk to Rose about the project. Now, Mapatazi not only has a musical focus, and a very serious musical focus at that, but part of its outworking is that it's just drawn a whole community of artists, musicians, people from all sorts of creative outlets and drawn them together. So it's pretty cool to talk about how this project has unfolded and what's coming up for it. This episode is brought to you by The Pedal Movie, a feature-length film all about effects pedals created by the music gear marketplace Reverb. I am super excited about this film. The Pedal Movie features nearly 100 interviews with people like Steve Vai, Peter Frampton, Jay Mascis, Billy Corgan, and more, including some of our Guitar Speak podcast alumni like Dweezil Zappa, Sarah Lipstate, Johnny Barmer, and Brian Wampler. Reverb's The Pedal Movie is available now on iTunes, Google Play, and Vudu. For more information, visit www.thepedalmovie.com. Today's episode is also brought to you by Fretboard Biology, the comprehensive online guitar course put together by Joe Elliott. Now, Joe is not only a fantastic guitar player, he draws on his years of experience as the ex-head of guitar at the Guitar Institute of Technology and also at the McNally Smith Music College. Here's a few words from Joe about the course.
If you're tired of wading through hundreds of random guitar videos and just want to become a better player, Fretboard Biology is your answer. Fretboard Biology is a self-paced, college-level program that'll give you the right instruction, in the right amounts, and in the right order. You'll learn the same information I taught to thousands of other guitar players over 30 years of teaching in top music colleges. If you want to make real progress with your guitar playing, then sign up for a free 7-day trial at fretboardbiology.com.
All right, my thanks to Fretboard Biology and Reverb. I appreciate you guys coming on as sponsors. Now, with Rose's permission, we have an excerpt of Mapatazi to play, and then we'll get straight into our conversation. Rose Turtle Ertler, welcome to the Guitar Speak podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, Rose, I've known of you for a while. First time meeting you tonight, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And what drew your latest work to me was that of the band Mapatazi, which is an all-girl electric guitar orchestra, which is already sounds like a great idea. What was the inspiration to put this band together?
Well, I did a project a few years ago called Insultations, and it was basically a sort of kind of theatrical installation-y thing where people would walk into a room and there was 5 guitarists, electric guitarists all around the room, and you'd kind of stand in the middle and yell. The audience would yell out insults. So the idea was that the guitars created a really loud, dense wall of noise. So no one could hear you screaming out these awful words, and you actually couldn't hear yourself.
Okay.
So, and so that was a few years ago. And a few other things happened, but that was part of the performance. And then, I just like having, I mean, it's only 5 guitarists, but I just like the kind of, I got a little taste of the possibilities, I guess, of what you could do with a number of guitarists. And I wrote music for them to play. And then I was trying to get that happening in Tasmania. I moved to Tassie a couple of years ago. I was trying to get a version of that happening here, but I don't know. I didn't get funding for it, strangely enough. But for that, I happened to know a couple of women guitarists, and then I thought I'll make it all women just for extra level of something interesting. But anyway, so that sort of fell through. But I still kind of had the idea in the back of my mind of having a group of women electric guitarists. And then I thought, I'll just see how many are out there, because I'd only been in Tassie maybe nearly 2 years, or about a year and a half at that stage.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't really know heaps of musicians or what was kind of happening out in that musical scene yet. And so I just sort of put the word out to see who would be interested in a mass experiment of women electric guitar players, and I got about 25 to 30 players who were kind of interested to be part of something. Yeah.
Fantastic. So good. So good. And you had, so as I understand it too, the experience of all the musicians is pretty broad.
Yeah.
How did you pull that together? How did you start writing for this ensemble?
Yeah, it was quite. We had to really put some thought into it, because when one girl, the youngest, actually, there's a few 12-year-olds in the group. One had never played guitar before, and she actually bought her first electric guitar on the way to rehearsal.
Nice.
To her, and she was a bit late, came in a bit late as well. But so and then we had really experienced, like really professional, great players as well. We have so then we just had to. A few of us wrote pieces, have written pieces so far for the group, and we just decided we had to make it simple. We had to make it so that a real beginner could play it, but also then good players can also kind of add things or So I mean, and I really like kind of working with limitations. So I guess in this case the limitation was that we had to write it. Yeah, for the level of beginners, and and there's so much you can do within that to make it interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Now there hasn't been a lot of recording. I've just caught some snippets in some, I think like pre-promo videos and things like that you guys have done. But there's one short video, and you're all just hammering this one chord, and it just sounds magnificent. With all these strings and all the sympathetic drones and all the polytonal. I mean, trying to get 21 guitars, trying to get 6 strings in tune is a challenge for all of us. So just that natural chorusing and all that stuff. Oh man, it was so good. I'm thinking surely there's a record or something.
Yes, we have to record. I mean, I could listen to that. There's one part. It's the very first chord of the. Near the beginning of the show, but it's kind of the first big sound of the show. We've really only done 2 performances so far, but so it's just it really is the beginning of something. But the first, I mean, everyone's just playing an E chord, just strumming, bang, 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 and not even perfectly in time. So it is a bit of a bit messy, but it's which I love, because it just kind of fills up this. It's all it tries to fill up all the spaces. But I could listen to that for hours, really. Yeah. Just like you said, or the kind of there's so much in it. I mean, there's like 20. Well, there's actually 6 bass players, and what's 25 minus 6? 17. No. What is it? So, 22. It's 20 at the moment. We've got 22. So 6 bass players and 16 guitar players. But that's like that's a lot of strings, isn't it? So a lot of strings vibrating to make one big sound.
That's awesome. It must have been amazing in that on those first couple of gigs. So your first gig was in March 2021.
Oh yes. We did 2 in that one day, so that's all we've done. Yeah,
Fantastic.
But so we had 2 chances to get it perfect.
Nice, nice.
So, yeah.
You've got an extraordinary background in art, music, and in community events based around music. I'd love to get to some of that stuff for sure. But was any of the Mapatazi, was any of it influenced by other sort of guitar orchestras, like some of the Glenn Branca stuff, or any other
Not
art?
really. I really don't. I mean, I've looked at. I don't. Yeah. I mean, it's not something I followed. I guess I've just heard little snippets of people doing things. I think in Melbourne last couple of years ago at the Melbourne at the Arts Centre, there was a big mass guitar, but it had drum kits as well.
Okay.
And ones I have heard of kind of done covers, so I kind of really wasn't interested in that.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure.
I really wanted to do original. It's just a really great opportunity to try new music. Yeah. So I don't feel like it was particularly influenced by any other guitar groups. Yeah.
Sure. And what's the community angle of this group? Because that's a big focus, or a big maybe a big byproduct of your wanting to have a jam with some people.
Yeah. I think the idea that anyone could join, no matter what your age is, what your skill level is, was the idea is to make that really accessible for anyone who wanted to come and be part of it. And that resulted in the youngest was 12 and the oldest was 70.
Oh wow,
and,
that's great.
And there was a couple of classical players who have never played electric before, and a violin player who'd never played bass. There's actually a few, and there's also a few. There's a few mother-daughter combinations.
Oh, lovely. That's so cool.
And there was a couple who the daughter joined, but then later the mum joined because she thought that looked like fun. So she sort of found a bass. Well, a couple of found bass guitar. A couple of the women mothers found a bass guitar somewhere, and so they joined too. So that's really beautiful. Yeah,
that's awesome. That's rocking. And there's again from some of the ABC coverage and other things I've read, there's women involved in some of the costumes that you're performing in. There's drawing and sketching and things. There's talk of a possible zine coming out. Yeah, it feels like, I don't know, once you've got a group of 22 people, I feel like there's so many possibilities, and so I could just say, let's make a zine, and then people, in that group, people can contribute, and so we've got a zine actually. It's made. It's just so it's a lot of drawings that people, not all in the group, other people from the community sent drawings, and we've invited people to come and draw a couple of the rehearsals. And then I didn't have enough words for the zine, so one rehearsal I just passed around little bits of paper to all the guitar players and said, can everyone just write down a few words or a sentence or whatever you want about what it feels like to play the electric guitar. So that was great. Everyone, I think it's a really beautiful group of people. Everyone's kind of really keen and to do it. So in that moment, everyone just said, yeah, and they just straight away put their heads down and wrote a few, a sentence or two. So then although that was all the words that were put into the little zine we made. Oh, that's so cool. That's awesome.
So, yeah, so I feel really lucky to have kind of met this group. I feel like, you can just say, does anyone want to come and help print T-shirts? And then 5 people came and, we made the silk screen and we printed our own T-shirts. So you can kind of do that. You can do that when you've got numbers of a group of people who are. Yeah, and then I wanted some costumes made. So I was trying to find a kind of some sort of a community group of people who sew. So that sort of took me to the Women's Friendship Group, which is a group of Hazara women from Afghanistan, refugee women who meet regularly in Launceston. And so I met with them. They actually came to my house, about 20 of them, and so I could explain to them the project. and I played a bit of electric guitar and explained what it was all about. And then, so from that group, 5 women jumped up to help make the costumes. So they made these beautiful kind of gold and silver head pieces for us to wear.
Wow. That's awesome. Wow.
It's beautiful.
That is beautiful. Yeah. Wow. One of my favorite things about music is just the synergy and the human connection when you're listening to other musicians and creating something. But you're taking this whole community thing. It's on steroids. It's amazing.
Okay, that's good. But I do love that. Yeah, I love that thing of bringing people together. But I also have in the back of my mind, it's not just that. It's also is about trying to make some really great music.
Yeah.
And I suppose I'm always, in all my work, I'm always kind of fighting that kind of daggy community feel. Yeah. And trying to remind the people in it that this is really great. This sounds great. It's not just, like just kind of, what's that word? Like to aim high. That we really want to make this sound good. It's not enough that we're just a group of community people playing something, but it has to sound really good.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I think sometimes people expect something not that great if they kind of think it's a community project, but which is not right. But so I think I'm trying to kind of always fight that idea.
I hope you are enjoying today's interview. Now, this podcast is brought to you by The Pedal Movie, a feature-length film all about effects pedals created by the music gear marketplace Reverb. Now, we love guitar pedals here on the Guitar Speak podcast, and we're super excited on the release of this film. The Pedal Movie explores how effects pedals and their builders have shaped modern music and guitar playing over time, from the fuzz pedal experiments of the Rolling Stones and Jimi Hendrix through the shoegaze and indie rock of the 90s and up to the modern day use of effects. Reverb also speaks with builders and leaders from more than 50 pedal brands to answer the big question, how did guitar pedals get so big? Reverb's The Pedal Movie is available now on iTunes, Google Play and Vudu. For more info, check out thepedalmovie.com. Today's episode is also brought to you by Fretboard Biology, the comprehensive online guitar course put together by master guitar teacher Joe Elliott. Now, I was a beta tester for the course, and as a music educator myself, I was very impressed by the logical layout and format of the course. Heavyweight guitarists such as Brett Garsed and Greg Koch have also endorsed the program, so check it out at www.fretboardbiology.com. Okay, back to our interview. I think your email signs you off as an instigator of art. I love that.
Yeah.
That idea. Let's go back. What was the musical start for you?
Oh, like in the very beginning when I was a child.
Yeah, because you play.
Well, let me take you back.
Yeah, because you play like a truckload of instruments. You've got a number of solo albums. You've toured the world stacks of times. Plus,
be my manager.
Plus, you find yourself in the middle of all these, community building and music events. So, what was the first musical spark?
I think I was really lucky to have to grow up in a family full of music. So my dad he was Hungarian. He played lots of instruments, but not brilliantly. But we had a wall of instruments that he'd buy from garage sales and do up, like trumpets, mandolins, and banjo. And he'd often say, "Come on, who wants to sing song?" And one of us me and my sister would play the piano from the old Reader's Digest sing-along book.
Oh, yeah.
So you know those ones? So that kind of khaki cover, yeah.
Yep.
So Dad could practice one of his instruments, and we loved doing that. It wasn't sort of a chore, but my sister and I are a year apart, so we sort of grew up playing lots of music together, and we had piano lessons. And my brother taught me to play the guitar, and I remember the first song was "Mull of Kintyre."
Oh, yep.
In E. Yeah, and then Rivers of Babylon.
Excellent.
And he taught me that, to put methylated spirits on my fingers so they'd toughen them up.
Wow. Did that work?
Yeah, I think so. I like the idea of it anyway. I did it, and I think so. Yeah. But so I feel, and my mum was well, she's still alive, but she sang opera when she was young.
Wow, cool.
Not that she didn't really sing it around the house much. She was more when she was in her 20s and stuff. But she was always really interested in music and encouraging.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel very lucky to have been surrounded by it.
Yeah, and you come from a long tradition of musicians that actually went to art school, not music school. Is that right?
A long tradition. Oh, what do you mean?
Well, there's a lot of rock musicians ended up at art school rather than studying music.
Oh, I think. Sorry, yes. I thought you meant in my family. Yeah. I went. I was a bit shy, and I like painting, so I went to art school because I always wanted to be a painter when I was young.
Yep.
And I was too shy to perform. So, and then I went to art school, and then I was in Sydney at COFA, and I was doing painting, but I was doing this sort of new media subject that kept changing its name every year, as well as a minor subject.
Okay.
And then the painting, I don't know, I think I just felt like the painting was making me too introverted, and then I wanted to concentrate more on sort of sound and performance art. So then I kind of changed and then kind of gradually got a bit more confident to perform. Yeah. So I think in the beginning I was too shy. I just wanted to paint. But then I gradually over the years I sort of came out of that.
My first musical connection with you was through the CD library at the University of Western Sydney, where I did my music degree. And after a while, I realised that the CDs in the section that I really liked, it was all the CDs that John and Carnesau had bought for the uni.
Yeah, great.
I ended up calling it the John and Carnesau section, and I used to, just to immerse myself in stuff, I'd just borrow a couple of CDs a week that I liked the covers of. And there was one of yours, and there's this, I'm sure it's like a drawing of you with a ukulele and a looper pedal. I can't remember the name of the album, but
it was Ping Pong Princess. That was my first one.
That was it. Oh, that was your first. Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. I loved that album. Was ukulele always the main focus on those records?
Yeah. It was actually. I got really obsessed with the ukulele for years, and I started playing it. When I played it, I only played it through effects pedals.
Yeah, awesome.
But then until I met some really good players and some Pacific Islanders, and then who sort of just showed me some little tricks, and then I sort of gradually kind of got rid of the pedal and just learned how to actually play the ukulele as a ukulele rather than a small guitar, which is how I was playing it before.
Gotcha. And what else do you play? Because you're across a bunch of stuff.
Well, I sort of grew up playing piano, so it's just actually recently in the last couple of months I've gone back to the piano, which I really have. I mean, it's always there, but I've never really performed heaps with it. But I'm starting to do solo piano and singing gigs. Not sure. I think I'm just waiting to find a band, but I just haven't quite found the right people yet. So in the meantime, I'm just really enjoying the piano. But I played ukulele and not much else for about, 15 years, I suppose.
Yeah, okay.
And just really tried just lots and lots of possibilities on the ukulele, and then met, I play with a West Papuan string band who are based, now they're spread out in Melbourne, Canberra, which is about 8 people, 4 from West Papua and me. Somehow I snuck in, and but that's really great because I really love the way they play. It's very rhythmic and fast. So I've learnt a lot from them about strumming and ukulele playing.
Yeah, cool. How do you end up with a group of West Papuan ukulele players?
I met through a friend who brought them to in Melbourne. They used to the Melbourne Ukulele Collective have a sort of monthly open mic ukulele night.
Oh, okay,
and
cool.
So someone I knew brought them. They were just really in the neighbourhood and they just were passing. So they she brought a group of West Papuans to that, and I just really loved how they played. I'd been in the ukulele scene kind of for a while in Melbourne, Melbourne in Australia, and it was kind of really growing when it was kind of really starting to grow, and clubs were starting everywhere. But I sort of it's a very white scene, and I was really excited to meet some islanders, some people who played it in a more traditional way.
Sure. Yep.
And I just really loved their kind of rhythmic style of it. So then I just I just met them, and gradually over about, I don't know, 5 years, we did some gigs together, and then I wrote a song for them, and they'd invite me on stage, and then they'd sort of say, I'll just stay on for the next couple of songs. So then gradually I learnt the songs, and now I'm in it. Part of it's beautiful. Yeah, I'm very lucky.
Very cool. Very cool. Tell me about touring Europe. Back in the, I don't know, when did you start heading over that way?
I think the first time it was 1996. Yeah, with my electric guitar and my sister with her bass guitar and our friend Hedge, who was the drummer. We had a band in Sydney called Spooky Loop in the 90s. We weren't famous or anything. But my sister and I were going to Europe to see if we could find any relatives in Hungary. And then our drummer Hedge just thought, he'll come too, and we'll do some gigs. So we ended up staying for about 6 months, and that was great. And we stayed in Frankfurt. We met some people in Frankfurt who had a theatre group, so we ended up training and rehearsing with them and being part of a big theatre production, but kind of as the band. And they made us dance as well. But that was really great, because that was the first time I'd been to Europe, because that was a big sort of eye opener to, doing gigs there, and it just we did sort of small kind of, sleeping on people's couches kind of gigs, which is great.
That's pretty cool. 6 months. That's a good way to do it.
Yeah. Well, we sort of stayed we stayed in Frankfurt with that group for about 6 months, I think, and then from there we'd go off and do a few gigs here and there, but a lot of the time we're rehearsing with this theatre group.
Sure. Did you find any relatives in Hungary?
No, no, because Dad was Jewish. So that's a long story, but
right.
No.
Sure. That's very cool. Your CV is massive, full of all these projects and your own music, of course, which is super cool. So back to the Mapatazi project then. So what's next for you guys?
Well, nothing absolutely definite, but I'm just working on editing some video from the live shows that we've done.
Okay.
And so far we've only got live recordings, so just kind of playing around with that. So we need to record the songs we've written and properly, and planning. Because there's so many of us, I just want to do special big events, not sort of just pub gigs everywhere.
Yeah, sure.
It's a big thing to organise, and I want it to be really special. So I'm going to start planning kind of another thing that's more of an installation, where it might be that we kind of take over a space.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of everywhere you look, or every corner you turn, there's another person or group of people playing. And it's like, I kind of want the idea to be that we're women playing guitars, and we've got a lot to say, and we're not going to shut up.
Yep.
And
awesome.
you can't get away from us. So I was just sort of imagining in this building where it's sort of like I'm not trapped, but almost. It's like you just, we're just everywhere, and we're not going to be quiet.
Yeah, very cool.
So I know that's just kind of something that's floating around my head that I haven't actually fine-tuned exactly how we do it.
Sure.
But I would love, I'd love us to play at festivals and kind of, I don't know, and in unusual venues or,
Yeah. Well, there's definitely some very cool festivals that happen in Tassie. Is that kind of stuff opening up again? As we speak, it's late May 2021. Talking about COVID-19, of course, impacting a lot of stuff. How are things in Tassie at the moment?
Yeah, Tassie is, we were very lucky. luckier than anyone else in Australia, I suppose,
Sure.
being an island as well. But, yeah, things are definitely happening. Things that weren't happening last year are starting to happen this year. So that feels good for all us musicians here. Yeah.
Yeah, I bet. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And as we head into the warmer months, a lot of those festivals sort of kick in. So
Yeah.
yeah, nice. What's the best way for people to know what's going on with Mapatazi and yourself,
Yeah.
Rose, in general?
Well, Mapatazi, probably easiest is to follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah.
And we'll keep everyone updated with what's going on. Yeah, and the video, I'll get the video out. It will just be a little kind of 2-minute promo video of, what we look like and what we sound like. And following me, I guess, on my website, roseturtleertler.com or Facebook or Instagram.
Great, awesome. Well, as I said,
Yeah.
I was fascinated with the project as soon as I heard about it, and then to hear just those little snippets was really, really cool. So I can't wait to hear some more stuff.
Yeah, great. Thanks.
No worries at all. Rose, thanks for your time. Thanks for chatting about this stuff, and
My
all
pleasure.
the best with it.
Thanks very much. Thanks for being interested.
All right, there you go. Hope you enjoyed today's conversation. Now, this podcast was brought to you by The Pedal Movie, the feature-length film all about effects pedals created by Reverb. Reverb's The Pedal Movie is available now on iTunes, Google Play and Voodoo. For more information, visit thepedalmovie.com. The show was also brought to you by Fretboard Biology, the comprehensive online guitar course put together by ex-head of guitar at GIT, Joe Elliott. Check out fretboardbiology.com for more information. Alrighty then, you have been listening to the Guitar Speak podcast. My name is Matt Wakeling, and as the legendary German rocker Michael Schenker once told me,
keep rocking, keep on rocking.
Keep on rocking indeed. Thanks for tuning in. I'll catch you next time. Bye now.